super early on a Wednesday morning. In this video, I hope to demonstrate and catch a few live midpoint trades. I'm going to be talking about the logic behind those trades, how to handle certain situations, when to stop yourself out, what to target, all that's good stuff. So, if you've never watched a midpoint video before, if you don't know what it is, real quickly. So after Globex opens every evening, I post buy and sell levels, these are targets, for 7 futures markets. This indicator, the daily levels indicator, plots them on your chart. I highly recommend this indicator. It will save you a lot of time and aggravation. I used to post them, to paint them manually on the chart until Ryan, God bless him, created this indicator, and now it does everything for me. So on each chart you see a green line, that's the buy level, you see a red line, that's the sell level, and you see a purple line, that is the midpoint. Above the midpoint I'm looking to be long toward the buy level, below the midpoint I'm looking to be short toward the sell level. So I am in 2 trades right now. This is one of them, the YM. I am short because price is below the midpoint. I am targeting the red line, that's the sell level. And as price will start getting closer to that red line, I'll begin to tighten my trail stop closer and closer, because about 80% of the time there is a bounce from these levels, the buy or the sell levels. It is not an ideal midpoint short because the fact is it's pretty far from the midpoint. I was very confident in taking it for my own reasons. I just believe we're going to definitely hit that sell level, so I didn't mind it not being in the perfect location. Later on this morning, I'm going to try to take really more ideal midpoint. I'm also short in the S&P. This one is a much better trade. Here we had a test of the midpoint from underneath and the bar reversing down. That is the short, much better midpoint trade. Right now it's not doing anything. Where is my stop, you ask? If price crosses above the midpoint and breaks that pivot high, I will take myself out of the short and start looking for a long trade. So the Dow is continuing lower here, and I will start tightening up my trail. Going to follow a little closer, and I'm going to continue to do that until price arrives at the sell level. I'm keeping an eye on the Nasdaq here. The Nasdaq is testing the midpoint from underneath, and if I get a confirmation by having a bar reversing down, once that happens, I'm going to take a short in the Nasdaq. Or if price continues higher, I'm going to wait for a retracement, and then if a bar closes up, I will take a long trade. So short below the midpoint, long above the midpoint. By the way, while we are waiting, I just want to talk about something really important, and that is targets. When I started this group 2 years ago, my goal was to help traders be consistent at targeting $100 a day, assuming 1 E-mini is traded. Now, as I found out very quickly, most people are not happy with that. So, what can you target if you don't want to target just $100? Well, below the midpoint, you would target the sell level. Above the midpoint, you would target the buy level. It is very important for me to stress the following point, though. It should not be that you are nicely in the money and your attitude is, well, either price makes it to the sell level or I'm taking a stop. You need to manage these trades. Just like in the next video when I'll be talking about the HPS signals, it can't be that you have your target and you say, well, either I get my target or I'm taking a stop. You need to manage the trade. So Hopefully in this video, as the morning progresses, you're going to see me getting into trades, and I will be managing these trades. It's not just, well, go, and unless you're going to get to the price that I want you to get, I'm going to take a stop. So on daily basis, look, obviously what you can get would depend on a number of things. First of all, your experience and skills at managing trades. That obviously is important. But what is also very important, if not even more so, is the condition of the market. If on a given day a particular market is very directional, where it moves beyond the midpoint and never looks back, goes right through the buy or the sell level and never looks back, on this kind of a day, a lot more is possible to squeeze out the market than on a day when price is very much back and forth. It is chopping across the midpoint a few times and you need to take some losses, and I do take losses. I'm sure in this video I will demonstrate a couple of losing trades because they always happen. Well, obviously on this kind of a day the overall result would have lower profits. If you take the time and practice this approach, and it does require some skill like anything else, if you practice this and you became really good at it, you can probably squeeze between 1,000 and 2,000 a day. Again, assuming one E-mini is traded and assuming that market conditions are favorable, and of course assuming that you have the skills necessary to hold trades. Alright, so I was triggered short in the Nasdaq, so I hope it's clear why you should start protecting your position as price is arriving at the sell level. Here is the YM bouncing nicely from the sell level. The RTY is doing the same thing. Nothing else to do so far, so I'm in a short in the S&P and a short in the Nasdaq. Alright, so the Nasdaq now about 11 points in the money here. I'm going to give it a bit more before I start trailing it. Again, for any one of you, ask yourself at what point would you simply, take a profit. And if you're looking for 100 to 200 a day, this is very doable using this approach. Alright, so I might need to take a stop. I am going to take a stop on a ES. Might need to take a stop on the Nasdaq. Looking at gold here, now testing the midpoint. Let's see if it bounces. I will take a long. Here we go. Let's make this bigger so you can see. So you see the test of the midpoint pretty much to the tick, and the bar closes up. Took a long. My stop would be right here. If price gets here, I'll take myself out. Watching the Nasdaq closely. S&P, if I'm going to take a long, it's going to be after 8:30. There was news at 8:30. So if price continues to hold the midpoint to the upside, I'm going to take a long in the S&P. A few minutes to go until the news. Less than 5 minutes. Alright, so after the news, unfortunately, I missed the long in the S&P. You see it's hitting the buy level now. I'm going to put my trailing stop in the Nasdaq. So I did have to take a loss in the Nasdaq from a short. Move to a long. Here is gold. Gold is reaching at the buy level, so now I'm really going to tighten up here. So I hope it's clear. I mean, I'm doing the same thing every day. I've been doing the same thing for years now. So this is a tried and true approach. That's not something that I just started 2 months ago. The YM, again, unfortunately missed the Russell. Well, can't get everything, because I am doing other things besides this. So if you remember earlier in the YM, we were short right below the midpoint. Short, look at the perfect hit of the sell level and a bounce. Then went through, after the news went through the buy level, retested the midpoint. I was a bit late on this long, but should be okay. And again, you definitely don't need to get everything. If you are targeting 100 to 200 a day, you don't need to get everything. Just get some. Get a partial move in one or two markets. That's all you need to do. And if you can get consistent at it on daily basis, sky is the limit. Sky is the limit. All right, so nothing else to do here. I have my trailing stops in place here. Nasdaq and gold. I am gonna, well, you know what? Let's put my stop here in the YM. Overall doing well. So I took what, like 3 stops this morning, 2 or 3 stops, I don't remember, to bring the point that yes, there are stops. It really bothered me the other day when someone thought that there are like no stops. It's all profits and I take no stops. No, I take stops, and the way I look at it, I need to invest a certain amount of money to make more money. So for example, maybe I need to take a 12, 15 point stop in the Nasdaq to make 25 to 30 points, right? So it's the cost of doing business, if you will. I need to invest money to make money. Now, on some days, and it's beautiful, and there is no investment necessary, and there are no expenses, and the move just goes your way, and those days are great. But those days are the exception. So you should not get frustrated if the, quote, normal happens. It's just part of the game. All right, so here is the Nasdaq attempting the buy level. So I'm going to start tightening up here as we are arriving. So notice I begin to tighten up even before, if I can catch it happening, because again, I'm just doing a lot of things. But you should really start tightening up as price is approaching, because they could react early. It is a possibility. They don't need to touch it to the tick. Normally they do touch it. That's the norm. However, you definitely don't want to try and get every tick and then the price reverses early. So as they're coming up here, I am going to be tightening up. It is still 24 minutes before US session opens. And we are already way up for the day, even though I took, again, I don't remember if it was 2 or 3 stops, but I took at least 2 stops. And later on, when trading is done, I'm going to show you the rhythmic dashboard and the full totals for the day. So gold went beyond the buy level. So you do see a reaction. You see those reactions from the buy level, but now it's breaking through. I am going to move my stop higher here. And this, by the way, if there is a textbook perfect test, it's this one. An actual touch of the midpoint pretty much to the tick. I mean, this is as exact as it gets. Textbook. This is beautiful. And you do get those. If you are patient, most days are going to give you these perfect setups in at least one of the 6 or 7 markets. I mean, I do 7, but I hardly trade the euro. But even out of the 6 markets, if you are patient, you will see this kind of a picture perfect test at least once in one of the 6 markets. What else? The YM keeps on going higher. Gonna move my stop higher now. Again, at this point, I am way in profit overall. So I'm just gonna move my stop and probably just leave it here now. See if it can make it all the way up, and if it doesn't, if it takes me out, then I'll simply be done. there was no reason to keep on going. All right, so my computer clock, rhythmic clock, the account used today. So I did make one mistake, and almost every day I make some kind of mistake. The NASDAQ, I actually traded on a different account. So this total does not include the NASDAQ trade. I just never mind. I put completely different account there, and so it doesn't show up in this one. But today was a very nicely, I think, directional morning in a lot of markets, like gold, like the Nasdaq, and on these kinds of days, if you're willing to try and squeeze more out of the trade, if you're willing to trail your stop and stuff, you can get great results using the midpoint approach. However, I still suggest that you need to walk before you can run. So at first, try to get consistent, 100, 200 a day, something reasonable. Once you get there, then you can start trying and trailing price. By the way, another advantage of trading more than just one market is that, as we all know, sometimes a particular market can get into a really choppy situation for days, right? I mean, we've seen it in S&P and the Nasdaq, especially last week, just going nowhere. But out of the 6 or 7 markets, at least one is really going to move. So maybe if the Nasdaq is slow, oil is moving. If oil is slow, maybe gold is moving. So something is going to move, and and that kind of helps you, even if you are down a little in a particular market that was really bad on any particular day. You have another market that would kind of help you out. It is obviously much more difficult to trade a few markets than it is to trade one. And if you are a beginning trader, you should definitely just try and focus on one. Yeah, so I mean, I hope this video helped. If it did, leave me a like, please. Make sure you are subscribed, of course. Come visit us in our Discord in the description. I can tell you, even though we offer a lot now on our server, for me, this is my meat and potatoes. I mean, this is my main course. This is, for me, the most consistent way of having daily profits. I don't remember the last day I had a losing day overall. I had days where a particular market, I would be down in a particular market. That happens. But overall, I don't remember the last time I had a losing day overall. So this is a very solid approach to trading. Yes, it takes some time to develop the skills to really trade it effectively, but once you have it, it makes everything very mechanical. It's, for me, not as emotional. Obviously, emotions play a role in trading, we all know that. But once you see the same thing happen day in and day out, it gives you a certain confidence to understand that losing trades will happen, but they are necessary at times to hit the higher profit targets. So this is it for this video. Thank you all. See you next time.